And welcome back to the special edition of Hannity Jihad in America. Now, this week, Donald Trump continued to call for a temporary ban of foreign Muslims and Syrian refugees coming to America. Watch this.
We have to stop, on a temporary basis, at least, but we have to stop people from pouring into our country. We have to stop it. Until we find out what the hell is going on?
It's common sense. You're letting people in from Syria. They have no documentation. We don't know where they come from, really. This could be the all-time great Trojan horse.
And for months now, top U.S. intel and national security experts and officials, they have been warning us that ISIS will infiltrate the Syrian refugee population. Watch this.
Would that bring in Syrian refugees pose a greater risk to Americans?
I mean, it's clearly a population of concern.
The concern is in Syria, the lack of our footprint on the ground in Syria, that the databases won't have the information we need. So it's not that we have a lack of process, it's there's a lack of information.
I don't obviously put it past the likes of ISIL to infiltrate operatives among these refugees.
We can only query against that which we have collected. And so if someone has never made a ripple in the pond in Syria in a way that would get their identity or their interests reflected in our database, we can query our database till the cows come home, but we're not going to, there'll be nothing show up because we have no record on that person.
We should be conscious of the potential that Daesh may attempt to embed agents within that population.
Here now with reaction from Act for America, Brigitte Gabriel, and national security foreign policy expert and analyst Arash Ari Aramesh is with us. Welcome, both of you. Ari, let me begin with you. So we just heard from our top national security advisors, our Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper. We just heard from FBI Director Comey, Assistant FBI Director Steinbeck, House Homeland Security Chairman Mike McCall, and we heard from the President's former envoy to defeat ISIS, General John Allen. And they all said the same thing. As has happened in Belgium and France, ISIS has stated also publicly that they will infiltrate the refugee population to bring harm to Americans. I support Donald Trump's temporary ban, and until we can vet them properly, we should not let any of them in. We can take care of them in safe zones, food, medicine, water, supplies, cots, baby formula, whatever they need, and military protection, but not in America. Tell me why you would be willing to gamble with the lives of Americans.
Well, let me answer your question in two prongs. First of all, the refugees that come to Europe and the refugees that come to the U.S., two completely different populations.
You just heard from our top intelligence officials.
If you let me answer, Sean,
you just heard from top American officials. They all said the refugee population will be infiltrated by ISIS. Why would you gamble with the lives of Americans? Answer.
Refugees who come to the U.S. have to go through a State Department interview, FBI interview, Department of Homeland Security, and a Department of Defense interview. It takes about 2 years before they get here. It's not like Europe.
No, that's not true.
That is the fact.
Obama,
that is the fact.
That's not true. Under Obama, it's a 3-month process.
And we started the process 2 years ago.
Right,
that's not true. That's not true, Sean.
It's now a 3-month process. So I ask you this. Let's say it's an ISIS-trained member going through the interview, and he's been trained by his fellow terrorists how to deal with the interview. How do you ascertain who comes here for genuine relief from a civil war versus those that want to bring harm to America? How do you ascertain definitively what's in their heart? How do you do that?
And that's exactly why you can't have a religious litmus test to process that. You know, I'm a secular, scotch-collecting, wine-drinking American, and my America doesn't fight religious wars. My America doesn't start religious litmus tests.
Here comes the ad hominem distractions. Stay on point and focus. How do you ascertain if a Syrian refugee has ISIS as an ISIS mindset, or if they really want freedom? How can you tell? And is it possible to tell?
You can't do that. And this demagoguery against immigrants, whether it be Mexicans or Muslims, is exactly pandering to the far right, to the racist far right.
Oh, the racist far right. Okay. So, Brigitte, our top intelligence officials and ISIS all tell us,
Mexicans and now immigrants.
Sir, it's not your turn. They tell us that ISIS will infiltrate this population, and this guy is willing to gamble with the lives of our fellow Americans. I'm not willing to do that.
We're not willing to do that, and ISIS has already infiltrated the Syrian refugee population that came to Europe. ISIS already came out and said we put 4,000 operatives already in the refugee population. We know that the refugees that are going to be imported to America are going to be imported out of UN camps, so we know exactly who's going to come to America. The only difference is we do not know whether their names are real or not, whether their passports are real or not, whether they have fake identity, whether they are ISIS operatives, and there is no way we can vet them. Plus, we can put them in the Middle East and some neighboring country that can take care of them. Why should we take the Syrian refugees? Who said in our constitution we're supposed to take terrorists or Syrians who are infiltrated by terrorists and bring them to America?
Let me ask you this. Isn't it part of ISIS strategy to teach and indoctrinate those to get past any vetting process? Isn't that part of their training, their military training, their terrorist training?
Yes, it is part of their training, and ISIS has become so sophisticated in their training that they surpassed us in the way they train their operatives to lie, to deceive, to blend. We have already seen the writing on the wall in Syria, in Germany.
And they're giving talking points. All right, appreciate it. I won't gamble with the lives of the American people, and I don't think we should. Thank you both for being with us. And